I'm Jamie J. Carr and this is We Built This City, where I talk to young people in the construction industry.
So Stephanie, what do you do?
I'm a BIM engineer.
What is a BIM engineer?
BIM stands for Building Information Modelling and Management, so it's a lot of digital construction.
How did you become a BIM engineer?
I went through college as an architectural technologist, and so I came through there with the software, and from there I kind of went on to the BIM side of things.
So tell us a little bit about what you actually do.
So what I do is I model services into a building, so that's the side that I'm working on it there. So I'd be looking at pipes or ducts or electrical containment, and I fit that into a building space that I've been given by the likes of an architect.
On a daily basis, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I suppose day to day I would be modelling in 3D software. I'd be modelling the likes of pipes to fit inside a building that I would have been working on. So it's kind of trying to jigsaw puzzle things into place, I suppose, trying to fit things into the space that's already there. And from that I'd be producing drawings that then I can send down to site for the guys that are actually going to install those pipes.
What made you want to become a BIM engineer?
When I was in college, I figured the love of the software and I kind of learned what it was capable of, and I suppose I could see where that was going to go through the future. And I suppose getting into that and, like I said, going through the coordination experience and seeing what I'd been creating installed on site, that's what's really kept me going through it.
What's the most fun thing about being a BIM engineer?
I suppose there's a lot of fun inside it. I suppose in being a BIM engineer, from my side of things, there's a lot of interesting work on the computer, there's a lot of innovation, there's a lot of technology, and it still goes back to the site. I mean, seeing it built, that's always going to be what kind of ticks it off at the end of the day.
What's the path like to become a BIM engineer?
So the path to a BIM engineer, it kind of comes from a lot of different directions. Like I said, it depends on which area you want to focus in. So it can come from like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, civils, architectural, design, really from any kind of direction. And a lot of it is just about kind of seeing that end goal and being able to work through the software to make that end goal work. So it can kind of come across all different ways.
What's your favourite thing about being a BIM engineer? I love saying that, by the way.
My favourite thing about being a BIM engineer is seeing what I've created come to life. I suppose that the things that I've worked on, that I've spent the evenings and the late nights kind of working through to make it fit, see it come to life on site when it's built.
That must be a special feeling to build something digitally and then see it physically. What's that like?
It almost feels like you're kind of in the future, I suppose, a little bit, where you're kind of creating something, you've put the time into it, you've worked it around, you've seen its whole creation, and then you get to walk down on site and you get to see it actually there, and you get to see the comparisons between what it looks like digitally and the real world. While they're very similar, it's obviously going to be different things, and you get to learn a lot by seeing the other side of it as well.
What type of people would make a good BIM engineer?
I suppose what makes a good BIM engineer is being able to see the end result, I suppose, virtually before it happens. So it's being able to create that. So you might be able to kind of figure that out with kind of in games and stuff like that, where you're creating your worlds. We're just creating worlds for clients and buildings, I suppose.
For somebody who's interested in becoming a BIM engineer, what would you say to them?
I'd say if you're interested, I'd say there is a lot of experiences to be had out there. There's a lot of opportunities to be had, and there's such a variety. So you might find maybe I'm working at mechanical and electrical, that might not suit, but there's going to be structural side of things, there's going to be architectural side of things. The opportunities that are out there, they're just unreal.
So I'm good with computers, I do a bit of gaming. Do you think I could become a BIM engineer?
Well, I think that's definitely a good start, is being able to kind of be comfortable in a computer environment, to be able to work on that every day. So having those experiences is definitely going to be a good benefit as a BIM engineer. On
average, how long would you work on a project as a BIM engineer?
The average time working on a project is going to base on the different types of projects that you're working on. But from my experiences, I've been anything from a couple of months to years on projects, and you get to see different experiences based on the different types of projects.
What's the coolest thing you've ever worked on?
The coolest project I would have worked on would have been a hyperscale data centre.
A what?
So there's the big data centres we're seeing out around Dublin these days. I was able to be part of that coordination, and to see that come to real life is really one of the key highlights of my career.
So you won't have any trouble getting a job if you're a BIM engineer?
I'd say as a BIM engineer, there's a lot more work coming, in the sense that a lot of the projects that we're working on, they're getting bigger, their timelines are getting shorter, and so a lot of the work has to be done digitally before we're actually getting to site. So there's a big push on getting pre-construction work done, and that's where BIM engineers are definitely going to be needed.
Do you need to be good at computers to become a BIM engineer?
You don't necessarily need to be very good at it. Like you said, there's a lot of different training to be done along the way, and learning your specific field, you're going to learn a lot with that. It's just going to be naturally a little bit easier if you're kind of used to the computer side of things.
Mm-hmm. Would you encourage people to do what you do?
I'd absolutely be very passionate about encouraging people to do what I do. The opportunities that I've had in such a variety of different experiences, and my colleagues have similar experiences, you know, that the experience that's out there and the opportunities that are coming down the line, it's really exciting, yeah.
As technology advances, does it become easier to be a BIM engineer?
Yeah, the technology advancements are really exciting and the future in them is ever changing. I suppose an exciting part of that at the minute is augmented reality. So we use these headsets on site where we can bring holograms of our models that we've coordinated onto the sites to see how they're fitting in the real buildings as it's being built.
That's class, look at this. This is what? Would creative people make good BIM engineers?
My experience is creative people do make good BIM engineers. Again, it's a lot of trying to fit things into spaces and coordinate, and the creative people see a lot of the details that are required. So in producing the drawings, the outputs that we'd be outputting, they'd understand what makes a really good drawing. They'd have that kind of instinctively in them. And I suppose a lot of the work we do is back in the office, but it's the drawings that go down on site, so they're kind of the end result at every time.
How has BIM engineering evolved?
There's been a big kind of change in BIM engineer, I suppose. Before maybe our career, a lot of work was done maybe in 2D and a lot on drawings, but there's big advancements with digital technology, especially over the last few years. There's been a big push towards that. So a lot of our information is shared live from our office direct to site, and it's all through online resources then that they're getting live information fed from wherever we are in the world.
Can you work from anywhere in the world as a BIM engineer?
Yeah, I suppose because a lot of our work is computer-based and online cloud-based, we can work from many different environments, I suppose, and we have jobs that we're working on in Europe, but we could be working in Ireland on those jobs at different times.
What advice would you have for young people who are maybe thinking about working in the construction industry?
I think working in the construction industry is a good challenge and it's a good variety of experiences. My advice would be to work hard at it. There's going to be challenges along the way, but I think you never fall to the same faults at the start as you do as you go on. So it's adventure down the line, I think.
Do you think the construction industry sometimes gets overlooked when people are making a decision about their career?
I think people often overlook the construction industry. It be seen as a little bit of bricks and mortar kind of side of things and on-site work, but there's a lot more to the construction industry that maybe people aren't aware of, especially with a lot of the digital side of things and a lot of the schedules coming in earlier. There's a lot more work pre-construction, I suppose, before we're even getting to sites.